Alright. The other day I found myself humming and singing this lullaby from the Pan's Labyrinth. The Shape of Water, Guillermo del Toro's newest film, had been in the theaters for a week or so, and I believe that to be the reason why that certain beautiful melody had made its stay in my ridiculously messy mind. I had planned to make a podcast about The Fish Called Wanda, my very first podcast. I was adjusted to that idea. Unfortunately, or fortunately, that tends to depend on the perspective more than I like to think. The loan period of that DVD was about to expire and I had to return it to the library. So I had to rethink the subject and I was humming the lullaby. Why not? Why not experiment with this new format with a film I've only seen once? Well, maybe because making a podcast terrifies me, and maybe because Pan's Labyrinth is a deeply sad film. I love it, and yet did not want to see it again at the time. Two thresholds I faced. How much more uncomfortable could it get? It's good to get out of your comfort zone, I've been told, but I live in my comfort zone. Pan's Labyrinth is a smart, beautiful, and tragic film. Could I make a podcast worthy of it? Would I have anything to say, anything to add? I decided to try, and this is me trying. As I was rewatching the Pan's Labyrinth, I found myself making only few notes, but I was mostly checking social media and taking breaks every 20 minutes. I really didn't want to be watching the film. I could not bear it. The breaks rendered the effect of the film minimal. Allowing myself to be distracted by the social media, I distanced myself from what I was meaning to do and did something completely meaningless. Where did this resistance come from? I knew my deep affection towards the film was and still is real. Then why was it so difficult to rewatch it? What I gather with my tiny messy sad brain is that it's about the combination of the uncomfortable feelings and doing something I wish to do well. As I said, the film is sad, very terribly sad. It became obvious to me that I lacked the stomach to deal with the sour aspects of life in general. They are heavy to me, and I mope and dwell on them for days, weeks, sometimes decades. Ruminate. See, I'm on and off depression like clockwork. The feelings of sadness, sorrow, guilt and fear are no strangers to me. They're basically very ugly roommates of mine living in the attic. I'm not willing to feel them or see them unnecessarily if I can avoid them. I'll watch a sad film every now and then, but rarely twice. In Pan's case, I knew what to expect, and God did my brain rebel my own idea and fight my determination to do this. I watched Pan and I shed a tear or two at the end. I'm not heartless. And after finishing the film I stood up and I knew I could not say anything intelligent or offer anything new into the discussion of the film. Yeah, I saw the captain's words, his attention to cleanliness and manners that hide his blood-stained self-loathing and barbarism. What could I say about that would bring something worthwhile to the online table? Nothing. The whole point was to try to say what I think, and there I was, empty of anything else except my own experience. So, this is what I think. I fear it's quite egoistic of me, but fuck it, I'll do it anyway. Pan's Labyrinth is like Alice of Wonderland married with Kubrick's The Shining. The story's main character, Ophelia's life is horrible. Depressing and violent reality on the other side, and terrifying, violent fantasy on the other. There's no place of peace, no moment of comfort for her at all until death. In the film, every character dooms oneself and others unwittingly. Judgment often comes after the harsh punishment. Ophelia's mother is sick and with this child, and the captain is sure that it's a son. Then he goes out and shoots an innocent father and son pair. Ophelia tries to help her mother with a magical mandragora, but the mother throws the thing on the fire and then needs a doctor right after the captain shot the man for helping the rebels. Nobody knows what are the consequences except magic, which is dismissed, unobeyed, and unseen. People suffer blindly, and whilst watching the film, I suffered mildly. My Blu-ray copy of the film has a foreword from Guillermo del Toro where he says that the movie nearly killed him, so I guess he suffered too. Now, I haven't researched the matter further, but I have an inkling that it's related somehow to the meaning, how meaningful the Pan's Labyrinth was to him. When I watched Pan's Labyrinth for the first time, I had no expectations, and I was enthralled, captivated. The film did not lose my attention. It was quite different experience compared to what I had now. Actually, it would not be that hyperbolic to say it was the opposite, and it saddens me. Why is it so easy to waste days, weeks, even years doing something absolutely meaningless and struggle to even start doing something meaningful? Is it because it's easier to deal with a failure when you don't give a crap? Is it somehow twisted sense of purpose when the outcome becomes more important than the doing? I like Guillermo del Toro's films, all the ones I've seen, but after Pan I've always felt a bit disappointed. Has del Toro been avoiding meaningful works after the trials and pains of Pan, or has he just embraced the joy of the doing? People, artists, are rarely Kubricks, not even if we try really hard and worked on our project for decades. Is there a balance to be found between joy and high quality result? Hell if I know. I can barely get myself working on something tremendously enjoyable and as important as a rat's rear end. The fear of the empty page and the unsatisfactory nature of the finished work are curses of the creative and me. Working on something meaningful kills and makes people unhappy and tired. Whenever I try to rewatch something meaningful like Pan's Labyrinth, the resistance awakes and demands me to stop. And I've yet to understand why. Maybe I won't see the hidden meanings. Maybe my intelligence fails to find something new. Or, even worse, maybe I'll suddenly hate it. I've seen Constantine, the Keanu Reeves film that I adore, about 6 times, but A History of Violence only once. Take a guess, which one I like better?